Have you ever wondered if penetration testing, commonly known as pen testing, can land you in legal trouble? Pen testing, for the uninitiated, is a cybersecurity practice where experts intentionally hack into a system, network, or application to identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited by actual attackers. It's a bit like a fire drill for your digital infrastructure, ensuring that if a real threat arises, you're prepared to respond effectively. But while pen testing is crucial for maintaining robust cybersecurity, it does wade into some murky legal waters. And that's where things get interesting. You see, even though pen testing is done with the best intentions, it involves activities that, under different circumstances, could be considered illegal. For example, gaining unauthorized access to a system or causing a data breach, even if it's done for the purpose of identifying weaknesses, could land you in hot water legally. Think about it this way. If you're testing the security of a building, you wouldn't just break in without permission, right? The same principle applies to pen testing. The key here is authorized testing. Performing penetration tests without explicit permission can lead to serious legal repercussions, and in some cases, criminal charges. Moreover, the law hasn't quite caught up with the rapid pace of technological advancement. This means that there's a lot of ambiguity around what is and isn't permissible in the realm of cybersecurity, and this can make pen testing a bit of a legal minefield. Even in cases where pen testing is fully authorized, there can still be legal risks. For instance, if a pen test accidentally disrupts the regular operation of a system or causes a data breach, who's liable for the fallout? These are complex questions with no easy answers, and they highlight the potential legal hazards involved in pen testing. So as we see, pen testing, despite its importance, can open a can of worms when it comes to legal issues. Navigating these gray areas requires careful planning, clear communication, and a deep understanding of both cybersecurity and the law. And that's where we'll dive in deeper in our next segment. Stay tuned. Let's delve deeper into the legalities of pen testing with some real-life case studies. Our first case takes us back to 2010, involving a man named Andrew Auernheimer. Auernheimer, also known by his pseudonym Weave, discovered a flaw in AT&T's public server. This flaw exposed the email addresses of over 100,000 iPad users. Instead of quietly reporting this to AT&T, Auernheimer shared the information with a journalist, leading it to become a public scandal. Now, you might think he was just exposing a flaw, right? But here's the kicker. Auernheimer was charged under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. The law didn't see him as a helpful hacker, but rather as someone who had accessed data without authorization. Our second case brings us to Gary McKinnon, a British system administrator who, between the years of 2001 and 2002, hacked into 97 US military and NASA computers. McKinnon claimed he was searching for evidence of free energy suppression and a cover-up of UFO activity and other technologies potentially useful to the public. His activities caused a significant system shutdown, which led to him being accused of committing the biggest military computer hack of all time. Despite his arguably noble intentions, McKinnon faced extradition to the United States and a potential sentence of up to 70 years in prison. However, after a decade-long legal battle, his extradition was blocked by the UK Home Secretary due to health issues. These cases serve as stark reminders that crossing legal boundaries, even with good intentions, can lead to serious repercussions. The world of cybersecurity is not just about skill, but also about understanding the legal landscape. It's a delicate balance of protecting digital assets while respecting privacy and legality. Without this balance, even the most well-intentioned actions can lead to severe consequences. So, how can one navigate this legal minefield while conducting pen tests? Well, the answer lies in taking a few key precautions and following some important best practices. First and foremost, it's essential to obtain explicit consent before conducting a pen test. This means that the organization or individual being tested must be fully aware of and agree to the testing activities. It's not enough to assume that because you're providing a service, you have a free pass to probe and pry. Always get clear, written permission before you start. But consent is just the first step. It's also important to have a well-defined contract in place. This contract should clearly outline the scope of the pen test, including what systems will be tested, what methods will be used, and what the expected outcomes are. This protects both you, the pen tester, and the client by setting clear expectations and boundaries. In addition to a contract, a non-disclosure agreement or NDA is often a crucial part of the legal safeguards. This agreement ensures that any sensitive information uncovered during the pen test remains confidential. An NDA protects both parties and helps to maintain trust throughout the process. But legal safeguards go beyond contracts and NDAs. It's also about following ethical guidelines and best practices. This means respecting the rights and privacy of others, not causing unnecessary harm, and always working in the best interest of your client. It means being honest and transparent in your dealings and acting with integrity at all times. In the world of cybersecurity, the stakes are high and the potential for harm is great. But by taking these precautions and following these best practices, you can ensure that your pen testing activities are not just effective, but also legally sound. Remember, as a pen tester, it's not just about finding the vulnerabilities, it's also about conducting your tests in a legally sound manner. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about protecting systems, it's about protecting people and their trust in you as a professional. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We dove into the legal gray areas in pen testing, a topic as murky as it is fascinating. We explored how the realm of cybersecurity is often caught between the need for robust security testing and the legalities that govern such practices. We then took a journey through real-life case studies, where the theory meets the practice. These stories demonstrated the potential consequences when pen testing steps over legal boundaries, offering valuable lessons for all cybersecurity enthusiasts. Finally, we discussed legal safeguards and best practices, the lifesavers in the tumultuous sea of cybersecurity. We saw how these measures can help navigate the nebulous legal landscape, ensuring that pen testing remains a tool for protection, not a pathway to prosecution. As we've seen, pen testing is a necessary but legally complex field. Always ensure you're on the right side of the law while conducting your tests. Stay safe and keep your systems safer.